This time on Flipping Bangers, we find treasure buried in a city garage
It's brilliant. Perfect.
that we have to own.
We've got to buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it fast.
On paper, it's plain sailing.
We get it in, we polish it up, we get it out.
In the workshop, it's too good to be true.
Wow,
Look at that.
that is outstanding. Could this be the car that finally makes us some serious money?
I'm convinced that we could get £3,000 for it.
I'm Gus Gregory and he's Will Trickett. Together we're risking everything to follow a dream
It's something I've wanted to do for a long, long time.
We've packed in our day jobs.
and invested our own hard-earned cash.
We will do whatever it takes. As we try to make a living in the cutthroat world of second-hand cars.
It's all in the chase. You've got to buy well, you've got to sell well.
Why would anybody buy this car?
We've got a goal.
We want to double our money. If we put 500 quid in, we need to see £1,000 back. We're targeting the very bottom of the market.
We buy cars that no one else wants.
Can we make it flipping bangers? Or is this a gamble we cannot win?
It needs so much work doing to it.
We've invested 10 grand in our new banger trading venture. That's to pay for cars.
Isn't it great?
I know. I've never actually had a proper, clean workshop.
No, it's really
And
exciting.
so much stuff.
I've got my favourite tools in here, my favourite spanners.
But if we're to cover the rent on our workshop and earn wages on top, we must double our return on every pound we put in. If we can't keep the money coming in, we'll be forced to close. Right now, we're on top. Just.
Basically, we've given up a salary, a monthly salary, and replaced it with, well, possibly no salary at all.
We aim to find, fix and sell one car per week, so can only afford 5 workshop days per project.
It's time to go hunting for some new, fresh metal. And I've got an idea. Everyone goes wild for a classic Mini, but the mostly forgotten Metro is just as smart and far cheaper. Well, if you want a utilitarian British car, it's got to be a Metro. Of that era, a Metro is the only one that sort of fills that gap for me.
OK, Metro it is. First generation, no bells, no whistles.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely as early as we can get it.
Yeah, a rubbish one.
OK, perfect.
We found a rubbish one on a general website. It's a guy who wants to sell a 1982 Metro fast, but hasn't listed a price, only offers. Is this one that's been in a garage most of its life?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You don't get many of those, do you?
No, and I think if we don't go and get it,
Yeah.
it's going to go.
It does. It's funny, though, isn't it? Because, 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't have looked twice at a Metro, would you?
No.
At all.
No.
But now it's difficult to get one, and they're becoming cool.
Just looks so cool. And it's in primrose yellow.
Awesome.
I know.
We arrive in Islington, North London. We need to locate the seller, who apparently has been mucked around already and doesn't want his time wasted again.
Hello, Tony. Is that you? It's Gus. Yeah, we've come about the Metro. Yeah, no, we're just downstairs by the garages. OK, see you in a minute. Brilliant.
Ah, Tony.
Hello.
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 Nice weather for it.
Yes, perfectly. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you too.
Hello, Tony.
This is
All right,
Will.
mate?
Will, hello, Will.
Good day to you. Wow.
You ready?
And it's high security. I am ready. Yes.
Go on, close your eyes.
Say when.
When?
Oh, wow. How long's it been in here?
Since 2008.
Right, OK.
That was about the last time it was on the road.
Do you mind if we get it out, Tony?
Oh, please do, mate.
Excellent. Tell us the Metro's tale.
Well, originally it belonged to my neighbour, Chris. He bought it off a little old lady, believe it or not. Basically never used it very much. He did drive it up to Scotland once, and I think that terrified him.
Scared the life out of him.
Scared the life out of him on the motorway. And so I think he brought it back and put it in that garage, and it stayed there. I took the car off of him in 2001. So it's been in there basically 8-9 years.
We're good.
It obviously hasn't done any work whatsoever. Look at it. Oh, look at that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
That's blooming perfect.
This car is time warp clean, but it's sitting low, indicating that the famous hydrogas suspension has probably failed.
It's jaw-droppingly brilliant.
That is fantastic. I love it. And of course, the colour is just perfect.
It's so good. It's so good. This is the brave new world of the British motor industry in the 1980s, repelling all foreign invaders. And we've got it out. We could start a whole new revolution.
Your classic A+ engine. That's absolutely perfect.
I'm still marvelling at it.
I'm looking at the minutiae, Gus, and this, under this bonnet, is everything is exactly as it should be. I mean, like, exactly as it should be. They weren't this good when they were new, Gus.
It's a time capsule, isn't it? It's
It is,
just,
yeah.
it's just amazing.
But how many miles has this got on it?
16,000.
A little bit more, yeah.
Yeah.
16,000 miles.
This car is 35 years old with such low mileage, it's literally given me goosebumps. It may be the money spinner Will and I desperately need.
Look at that. This one is like brand spanking new. It is in perfect condition. It has never even had a second coat of paint on it.
But everything about this car is fantastic. And this is just mind-blowing. It's like being transported back to 1983. This is a new car inside, and it's done 16,000 miles.
What do you reckon then, Gus?
We've got to buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it fast.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I can find all the obvious things wrong with it. The brakes don't work, the hydro suspension is pumping up, a handful of other bits and pieces, but, you know, we have got to have this car today. We must load it up and take it away as quickly as possible.
Have you seen these?
I have. I've had a look. You know, the last service was at 8,630 miles.
Yeah.
Admittedly, we're at 16,240 miles now. This is genuine. This car is genuine. We can't be... You would never find... We would never find another one of these, ever.
Come on, let's go. Let's get it away. We've clearly got to have it, haven't we?
Yeah, I think you like it.
It's amazing.
Oh,
Absolutely amazing.
We do.
In the advert, you were saying you'd open to offers. What
That's right,
sort
that's
of
right.
offers would you be open to?
Well, I said in the advert, make me an offer, so I'll stick with that. Guys, you make me an offer, yeah?
We don't know how much Tony needs to get rid of the car, and we need to seal the deal. But with no price, where do you start? Will is good with a hammer. Maybe he should kick things off.
Yeah, well, let's get started. Sort of 200 quid? OK. 250 quid. All right, 300? How about £350?
Got a deal, mate.
Wicked,
350 is good.
350 it
350 is
is.
good.
Nice.
OK, guys. Great.
Thank you very much.
Take it away.
It's just beautiful. We love it. Thank you. And
Yeah,
thanks for all your
it's
time for
sweet.
showing us
Yeah,
around.
sweet.
Sweet.
So we've got the super low mileage Metro for a bargain price. But there's another prize we want. If we can start the car, there's no two ways about it. We'll have doubled our money and we're not even back at the workshop.
Gus, I've got every confidence in this. I think it's going to be just fine. We'll have this running in no time. We need a jump pack, and we'll use a jerry can to bypass the car's fuel system, because what's in the tank will be stale.
Little bit of choke.
Yeah.
Fingers out.
Yeah.
Hey! Fantastic. That's amazing, isn't it? Fantastic. What a good girl.
Listen to that.
How sweet,
Oh, that is... We have got a lovely little engine here. The Metro purrs happily onto the trailer under its own steam. We couldn't be happier either. The car has exceeded all expectations. Tiny bit more.
As we prepare for our trip back, we desperately hope that the Metro will remain as well behaved at the workshop. Our cars usually don't.
What are the chances of getting a Metro so perfect, so cheap?
I don't know. I don't understand how that happened. I don't really understand what just went on. I think maybe we were sent back in a time warp to buy a car, and now we've just gone...
We've got it. We've bought it back here. It's the perfect thing from 1982. I'm going to get home, and I'm just going to put a massive question mark on today.
Yeah. Oh!
Hey, I've been looking forward to getting to work this morning just to clamp eyes on this again.
It's great, isn't it? And somewhere there's going to be a bloke in an armchair with a pipe and a beard thinking, oh, a mini metro, 1,500 quid, I reckon, all day.
She's in a bit of a shocking state at the moment, but only because it's dirty and not shiny. There's very little else wrong with this car.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We get it in, we polish it up, we get it out.
The only question about our Metro is whether we find rust under the car. But before that potentially joy-crushing moment, I'm going to do what we always do. Take some nice pics to use in an online ad. Agreed, the car doesn't look at its best, but we can't wait until it's finished to advertise it. To choose a price, I have to project into the future.
It's such a beautiful car. I'm convinced that we could get £3,000 for it, but we don't have the time. So I'm pricing it to sell it. I mean, if we get, I put 1995, which always makes me laugh. It's fractionally under 2,000. But if we got 2,000 for it, then the percentages are huge. The numbers, i.e. the amount of money involved, isn't, but the percentages are. And that's important. So 1995 or nearest offer. That's what we're going for. I've got a few photos here, which we'll add in as well.
If we can sell the Metro for £2,000, we'll more than quadruple our price. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still don't know if the car really is as good and solid as it seemed when bought in the rain. So we can really see what the condition of the body is like, I give the Metro a quick bucket of water over it and hope to expose any scratches or rust that the uniform sheen of London dust might have concealed. It's already looking better, but the magic or the disappointment will come when we get underneath. All Minis, and the Metro is no exception, are notorious for rust. The ramp awaits, but because the suspension has collapsed, we need to jack it up before the arms can fit underneath. Now for the moment of truth.
Wow,
Wow.
look at that.
That is outstanding.
Amazing.
I've never, ever, 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 ever seen a Metro so good. Because, I mean, that's the normal big fear, isn't it? You look underneath any mini Metro and you think, oh, that rear subframe's going to be absolutely stuffed. That's in superb condition. I mean, superb.
But it's still got original paint on it, hasn't
Yeah.
it? They're consumable items, these cars, aren't they? They're cheap cars for the masses, and there's none of them around because they've all rotted away.
Well, that's what they were used, like carrier bags. So, armed with the knowledge that we don't have a sea of welding to do, we need to concentrate on what the car does need. The suspension is collapsed and it's been standing for years and doesn't start on the key. Let's get that sorted first. The fuel system is always a concern for an old car. Let's dig in. One of the things that makes Minis so popular is their sheer simplicity, and any Tom, Dick or Sally can remove the carburettor, which mixes the air and the fuel, and inspect it.
So I'm just taking the fuel out of our Metro. The fuel's been in there for 20 years, and fuel goes off. It smells like white spirit that's been left, that you've left a brush in. It has a particular emulsified smell. It gums everything up, which is the reason why Will's taking the carburettor apart and putting all new bits in it. It just goes sticky and horrible. But so I'm going to take it out, and it made me laugh because when I was a kid, I used to work in my dad's garage, and I remember locking petrol caps coming in, and they came in after the fuel crisis because people used to siphon petrol out of cars. It just used to happen. There was a plague of it in the country. You used to hear about it all the time. Let's see if we can get this to work. Tube in. That's why you don't see it very much anymore. It's not the most precise.
No doubt Will try and get this into his Land Rover. Every little helps. Don't try this at home, kids. Really. The redoubtable Will is stripping the old carb down to see if there's any petrol damage.
When Gus and I started the car, we had to use a petrol can because the fuel tank was full of stale petrol. So if the fuel tank's got stale petrol in it, the carburettor's got stale petrol in it. There's certain components inside the carburettor that would be affected by stale petrol. The little valve for the float chamber, the main jets, for instance, they get gummed up with residue from the petrol. The carb rebuild is pretty simple. The parts are less than 20 quid. And if you peek online, a nice person will show you how to reassemble the jets and the floats. The sticking float is a common issue, so sorting this out is a no-brainer. After 10 minutes of fiddling, it's looking pretty good. Right, that is now ready to go back onto our little car.
I siphoned the petrol out of the tank using a tried and tested inhalation method.
Thought you were a bit noisy, Gus.
Every time I burp, I get a mouthful of fumes.
It's nice, eh?
How did that go? All right.
It's gone really well. The carburettor should now work without the aid of a jerry can.
Shall I turn it on?
Yes, go on,
Shall
give it
we
a bash.
see?
Yeah, because I'm keen.
Ready?
Yep. Ooh.
Oh, that's a disaster. That sounds brilliant, doesn't it?
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah, fabulous. Good work. Well
That
done.
is really good work. You know what?
Amazingly smooth, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't it? 16,000 miles, that's what that does.
Yeah, exactly
But
that.
with that all done,
Yeah.
it's home time now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's call it a day. Shall I turn it off or shall we leave it running?
Yeah, turn it off.
Usually at the end of the first day, we're stressed, angry, worried, and covered in bits of rust. This time, with our outstanding Metro, we feel like two old ladies walking away from a successful night at the bingo. Our Metro only cost £350, and so far, we've only spent £20 on her. Day 2 on Project Metro. To our eyes, one of the most beautiful British cars ever. Our aim is to get her to around the 2K mark.
And that means we have to check her over and sort out anything that isn't perfect.
I've been giving the Metro the once-over for any issues that need attention. There are very few.
So when we were underneath the car, we noticed that the steering gaiters had gone. And they've gone from being nice and rubbery to crispy like that and disintegrated. The front bit here is supposed to be attached to the back bit. And we've got new ones, so for a few pounds, you can replace them, because it'll fail an MOT like it is. And more than that, getting water in there is not good anyway, so it's a quick job.
Again, it's something you can try. I unbolt the steering arm, and a little wrestling to get it off now follows.
So I've got to avoid paintwork, fingers, and this rubber here, because it's in particularly good nick, and I've got to do it across my arm like that. Okay, so here goes. Well, that was easy.
And now I'm free to remove the last bits of the crumbly gaiter.
So when you're taking the track rod end off, if you count how many turns out it is, then you know how many turns to put it back on. So 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14. Perfect. All I've got to do is remember 14.
It's pretty amazing that after all this time, one of the few items to actually fix on the car are to lubricate the steering arm and to plumb in a new steering gaiter. And some of the bits and bobs are still fit for use. Hail British craftsmanship. Amazingly, I don't need to put my hand in my pocket for a new track rod end. The car has been driven so little, there's plenty of life left.
While Gus slaves away on the fixers, I'm trying to work out if we're doing the right kind of work to our car. I'm at the British Motor Museum at Gaydon. Ours isn't a show car, despite having spent years static under lock and key, but I think it won't be far off the condition of the best Metro in the country. We've got such a fabulous mini Metro, I think it's worthy of a place in a museum. Now, I know there's a man in here who will tell me if I'm right or wrong. There's a Metro on permanent show, and I'm seeing the curator for a look over.
Will. I'm Stephen.
Hello, Stephen. Good to see you.
Yeah, should we go and have a look at this Metro then?
Yeah, it sounds fascinating, your Metro. Well, this is a spanking example. How come it's survived so well?
So this was one of the motor show cars from 1980 when the car was first launched, and really that's its whole career. It's only just been a show car and then a museum piece.
Really, so this has done no miles at all?
Hardly any, just a handful really. It's pretty much as it would have been in 1980.
We thought ours was incredibly low mileage, but we're 16,000 miles.
I think we can beat you a little bit. I mean, that's the thing about cars like that, isn't it? Because they were everywhere, there were 2 million Metros by the time they stopped making them.
Yeah.
And it was an everyday car, not really a collector car. Nowadays, they're quite hard to find.
The car here is worth upwards of £20,000. We're never going to get that money, but if we're clever with what we do to ours, we're surely going to nudge up the desirability. What would be the best bit of advice you could give us for what we do with our car?
Every car in the museum, it doesn't matter whether it's the most fantastic sports car or something like the Metro. If you don't have to do something to it, it's got something that's original to the car or authentic, then leave it in if you can. Don't be tempted to kind of throw away all of that to make it look a little bit more shiny, particularly with a thing like the Metro, where the importance of it is that somebody really loved it, even if it was only for a few thousand miles, and then kind of safely put it in a garage.
Yeah. Based on what I've heard, we need to conserve the valuable patina at all costs, like when restoring an oil painting. All of our efforts should be invisible. Gus is on board and comes up with a discreet way to improve the Metro. That's to drop the subframe and refurbish it. It's a known weak spot for corrosion.
OK, so we're going to take the subframe off. It's a relatively easy job to do. It's a little light car, so it's not a massive, great thing to move. Basically, what you have to do is disconnect everything that's connected to the subframe, i.e. the brake pipe here, so the flexible brake pipe, and that's the handbrake cable, so the handbrake cable will have to come off. And then there's the fixing bolts for the subframe itself, where it's fitted to the body, and then that's it. It's as simple as that. It should just drop out.
First up, we disconnect the brake lines, which are oddly dry. To disconnect the brake drums, you need to pull out the cable to the handbrake. There's a long way to do this and a short way, which I'm doing. Delve into the little slit in the carpet and loosen off the 10mm thread, and it's all done. Clever me.
There. So that's the bit that attaches to the handbrake lever in the car.
Once everything is freed off, we should be able to release the subframe out. There are some anomalies, such as a weird bolt in the housing for the spare wheel.
You ready, Gus?
Yeah, I'm ready. Theoretically, it's going to pivot forwards, isn't it? Ready?
And that's the daddy. Ours is in superb condition, really.
Lovely. There we go.
Perfect.
That is perfect.
But our aim is to bring this car up a subtle, almost invisible notch. I brush off the surface rust, and the subframe is alarmingly good. It wasn't much better than this when new.
So here we have our subframe from our Metro, and it's in astonishingly good condition, but it hasn't been many miles, so that's not really surprising. It's been in the garage. The bit that catches all the weather is this bit under here, and that bit goes, well, it all goes. But as you can see, it's brilliant. It's still got lots of original paint on it.
This coat of wax means that any viewing under the car will render the subject speechless. Because that's what we have now, a Metro with the power to shock, amaze, and dare I say it, delight. Day 2 is in the can. Day 3. We bought a yellow Austin Metro that has spent years in a garage. It's time warp good. It's the car we're not going to double our money on, we're going to quadruple it. We've shelled out for some bits and pieces so far. We're only in for £400 or so, which is madness for a car this good.
The job of the day is to reinstall the cleanest subframe known to man or beast and see whether our almost invisible improvement will result in a more sellable car.
Lovely, lovely. Lovely, lovely.
All right.
OK. I'll hold her, you pumper.
Right.
That's perfect for me there. Perfect.
Because this is a Metro, rebolting it is all DIY. No specialist tools, no nonsense. Right, I think that's everything on my side done. It's all tight inside the boot, which means I think we're ready to put the rest of that stuff on the underside of our subframe.
Yes, perfect.
Brilliant. My job or yours?
It's the messy one, isn't it?
Probably yours?
No, I do.
But now we've rust protected the top of the rear subframe, the rest of the underside needs the same magic treatment. I've spent a couple of hours and probably £20 or so on rust preventing paint. I could eat my dinner off of that, although it would of course be upside down. It's all well and good having nice clean subframes, but we do need to do an oil service on the Metro as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Will.
Just about to change the oil, for which I shall need my big spanner, an oil catcher, preferably empty, and, because it's always a messy job, lots of rag. I've taken the precaution on this car to warm the engine up a little bit first, so all the nasty oil comes out easily. I release the sump plug and drain out the oil. It's not rocket science, although a main dealer might ask for £100 or more for the job. But the oil is all out. Just got to change the oil filter and I can refill the whole system. There we go. But taking off the oil filter isn't that easy. Luckily, I have a tool for said mission. So this tool goes onto the oil filter, up here, turn it so it grips, and then give it a good firm turn. Yeah, there we go. Now it's coming undone. Now it's loose. I can remove the tool and remove the oil filter, which is going to leak horrible, sticky oil all the way down my arm. And being as I warmed up the engine to get the oil to all flow nicely, it's red hot as well. There we go. Like that. One oil filter. Luckily, a new one is only a £5. Yuck. Before installing this oil filter, I need to wipe a bit of oil around this rubber seal. And that aids the oil filter going on properly and fitting nicely. And also, in the future, when it's removed, it means there's a slight bit of oil in between the rubber and the casting, and it comes undone easily, rather than seemingly welding itself on there. So you make your job easy by doing a little bit of preventative oiling right now, and now it can go on. Right, just do it up as tight as you can by hand. Next thing is I'm going to lower the car, put some oil in at the top. And even with something as simple as this, there are always tips to bear in mind.
It's the end of day 3. Fed and rust-proofed, the Metro is in a great state and costs are hovering around the £400 mark.
Day 4 on our yellow Metro.
So we'll polish it.
Oh, it's got to look fabulous.
I'll
we need
enjoy
to
that.
sort out the old ride heights.
I know someone cool about that.
And our odd mission is to make our improvements invisible, as it seems that that's the most likely way we'll attract a nostalgic buyer. The body is the next port of call. It looks okay, but how can we improve it without extra paint?
Right, Gus, I'm coming to help. Shall I grab the machine?
The mop?
Yeah.
Not for this, surely. Surely this is a gentle job to be done by two loving people caressing gently polish into the car. Yes?
Ages.
Exactly, ages, yes. Not long, it's only a tiny car. Come on, William.
All right, OK.
We're not cutting with a mop, which is a powered rotary sponge, even though it's the natural tool to cut through the top layer of paint. On a car like this, though, the paint is just too thin, so we tread carefully.
But no cutting compound will fix everything. See, this is a thing here. Somebody, some previous owner or user of this car, have been putting their keys into the lock, using the lock, opening the boot, closing the boots with the keys still in the lock, smashing their keyring against the beautiful yellow paintwork here, therefore removing it, which is a real pity because there ain't no way on earth I'm going to be able to polish out those chips.
That's all the way through to the metal, isn't it?
All the way through, yeah. Yeah. How to ruin your car in one easy step. So maybe because of that, I look for bits of paint that I can improve. The front arch needs some help, Doctor.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Oh, my goodness, you're cutting the paint off.
I am, yeah.
Yes, did you notice that the paint that's coming off seems to be yellow?
No,
Yes, no.
Peeling this car is like an onion. There are many layers.
Well,
this layer of paint, which was obviously acquired in some supermarket car park from a different car, is being carefully scraped off using a sharp blade.
Well, you want to be careful because that sharp blade will become less sharp when you dig it into the metal that's underneath there. I'm going to put the kettle on.
Will's penknife can't usually be trusted to do anything delicate, but this time, a once only, he's bearing yellow fruit. The cutting compound, chemically, not unlike what you clean your bathroom with, is doing a great job.
Just going to give it the final buff and see how it looks. And even though I do say so myself, that's looking pretty good.
Gently, pleasingly, and invisibly, we're restoring the Metro's smile. Very soon, we'll know if all our hard work will result in the high selling price we need.
Our bumper is a bit battered and bent, and there's bits missing, so that's a bit of a problem. I'm going to take it off, I'm going to batter it straight again, and then I'm going to respray it and refit it, which is slightly different to our mantra of just polishing up and preserving. But this is actually broken, so it does need fixing. Metro brilliance. A few bolts and the bumper and lights are ready to come off. I'm hoping for no issues, as stripped bolts here will be a pig to sort out. Right, so I've got the bumper. How can I improve it? Here we are. The bumper is bent here and here. And the bracket's also bent as well, so I'm going to attempt to straighten that lot out. So, the big dents get a wang with a hammer. Gus says I love using the hammer, but I can't be certain he's right. To me, the hammer is just a means to an end.
Another thing that lets down our beautiful Metro is the fact that the paint is coming off the badges at the back. This one here used to be blue, and this was silver here. And the Metro badge the other side is also the same. So what I propose to do is to use these delicate little pads made of high compression foam, and rather like a Renaissance painter, delicately dab back on the silver and then the blue paint.
You're thinking, why doesn't he mask each letter? Well, you could do that if you had time and skill, but this, I call it the kindergarten potato technique, is pleasingly rapid and not too bad from a distance.
I'm sure they didn't have this trouble when they were painting the Sistine Chapel.
At least I can be bothered to get the blue right. And come on, it looks all right.
Banging over. And my old friend, the filler, takes care of any last-minute surface adjustments. Don't think you can skimp on the filler preparation. The paint at the end will show any imperfections. And once that's all done, a lick of paint will make the bumper look like new.
It's day 5. We've taken on a Metro that, despite its ironic 80s primrose yellow paint, is a thing of beauty. We've only spent £400 on it so far, and we want £2,000 for it. Our banger business, which aims to double our investment, says this is more than good. It doesn't want for a lot, but the hydroelastic suspension has collapsed, and that's beyond our pay grade. We need a specialist.
Considering this car has got absolutely no suspension at the moment, it doesn't feel too bad.
I think it's because it's actually on its bump stops, so there's no travel. So it's just on rubber.
Yeah, quite possibly. I'm of the opinion that this shouldn't be too high, nor should it be too low.
You don't want to go on a sort of 4x4.
No, we don't want to look too jacked up.
We found a garage in Wokingham that has a specialist pump that will let us recharge the quirky suspension to around 30 centimetres, the recommended height. Right now, it's 5 millimetres.
Good afternoon.
Are you Mark?
Hello, yes, it's me.
Mark. Gus, we spoke on the phone.
We certainly did, yeah.
It's pumping up our rather low rider Metro.
Yeah, no problems. We can give it a go for you.
The way the system works is that a pressurised reservoir holds fluid, and it's that which needs pumping up. This quirky system was also used on Rolls-Royces and the mighty MGF. The pump, not a household item, delivers high pressure to a number of spheres in the Metro suspension. It's a hangover from the original Mini. The designer, Isigonis, a genius, wanted a system which delivered body control in a small space. We pay £35 for this service, which is topped off with a filling up of the reservoir.
There we go, chaps. 300ml all round.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
We've got the paint right, we've sorted the underneath, we've fixed some bits. Will's banged the bumper, we're into finishing touches now, and Will has some ideas.
Look at this. Boot lid won't stay up. Now, we all know that that is one of the most annoying things about almost any car, isn't it? So, I am just about to prop it up very precariously on this stick and replace them. I've got 2 new ones. It's a simple, cost-effective fix. And when you're selling a car, you just want all of these little niggles to be sorted, don't you? There you go, pop that off. Same here, pop it off, like that. Now, pops on there, easy peasy. Rotate this one round, and that pops on there. There you go. Already, it's seeming better. Do exactly the same with the other side. Oh, apart from, check this out. This one's a slightly different fixing, so I'm going to have to use a different type of screwdriver to lever that little locking mechanism out. Then it should sort of pop off, like so. See? Yeah, that's it. Same at this end. Release the little locking device. And then gently, but firmly, remove it like that. On there, and there. This should be a done job. Perfect. But Gus, not to be outdone, has some last-minute tweaks of his own.
The usual Will refurb is to spend some money doing it properly or strip and paint in fine silver from a can. But we're trying to make the car look like it's aged, but gracefully. That's patina. That's making a £350 car fetch £2,000.
Well, thank you kindly.
It's a pleasure, Gus. Doing a good job there, mate. That looks brilliant, Gus.
Yeah, well, that's adhering to our new mantra of polish what's there and preserve. That's great, isn't it?
It looks fabulous.
Brilliant.
We've been doing bitty stuff, but that's what this car needed. Saved in storage, it needed smart TLC to transform it from garage fine to near museum standard car. We flushed the fuel system and rebuilt the carb, dropped the rear subframe out for a rust treatment, serviced it, polished it, pumped it up, Will bashed the bumper, I cleaned the wheels. What are we in for? The car was £350. We spent £65 on parts and £35 on pumping up the suspension system. It owes us £450, and I'm sorry, but that's almost dirty.
But it is exactly as good as we knew it would be when we first saw it in the rain in that garage.
This is our cheeky little mini Metro. It doesn't get better than this. We've worked really hard on it. Now, the next big hurdle is...
Selling it.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be a problem, because this car represents exactly British Leyland's philosophy at the time. It's a cheap car for the people, isn't it? And they were like white goods. They rotted away, didn't they? Cheap to build, cheap to buy.
Well, you said the word cheap. I don't want to be selling this one cheap. I want to be selling it expensive, Gus.
Yeah, we do.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Good for room. Hey!
And drive we shall, even though this car has driven only the equivalent of 500 miles per year of its life. How will it feel? With everything restored to factory perfection, patina completely intact.
Essentially, it could be a modern car. It's not got power steering, but it's really light, because it's...
Yeah, because it's very light. The geometry on these cars is excellent because it's pretty much the same as the Mini. It's got big car suspension on a little car.
Yeah, so you can get over the fact that it's all made out of pressed tin. You can get over the fact that it's made fabulously cheaply because it actually handles and drives like a proper car.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
It takes some doing. Capturing that essence is difficult, but they've managed it.
Yeah. And in actual fact, the acceleration, you know, there's two of us in it.
You know,
And I'm not no lightweight.
no, me neither. Yeah, it's bowling along quite well. What are we up to? 35 miles an hour, Gus?
Yeah, but it's low, so you don't necessarily know you're only going 35, and that's a brilliant thing. All modern cars should be like this.
The best fun you can have at a low speed.
Yeah, it's. I was saying it's perfect. It's
As good as it could be.
exactly I mean, I wouldn't want for anything more.
And after our little drive, the first genuine inquiry email pops into our inbox. It's a guy called Mark. We asked $19.95. He's offering $17.50. He's a dealer.
Mark, hello.
Oh, hello.
Gus,
How are you?
pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Hi.
Hi there, Mark.
Will.
I'm
Hi.
Will.
So what attracted you to our beautiful little Metro?
I just never thought I'd even find one, especially with this mileage. I'm absolutely made up with it. 16,000 miles from you. It's absolutely original and it's perfect for exactly what I'm looking for.
We don't think that there would be one of less miles of this age, this generation.
No, and it's
And
so
this
original.
spec. Yeah.
I don't think there is a better one. I can't imagine for a minute there's one with this mileage from 1983 anywhere else in the country.
So we've literally just done preventative type maintenance. The rear subframe, we've taken it out, and we're giving it some rust protection. We've had the suspension pumped up, that's a good
Right.
thing, and the carburettor's had a bit of an overhaul as well. Oh, and a tiny bit of cosmetic on the front bumper as well. But apart from that, you know, not a great deal, bit of a polish up.
The colour's right, everything's just brilliant.
I mean, you've paid for it, haven't you? We know how much it's going for.
fine.
No, it's really good.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
to you.
We might have made more than Mark is offering. The Metro is possibly worth £3,000. But to us, a quick sale means we can buy another car. A quick sale is golden, or Primrose. At £1,750, we've made more than £1,500. That's 3 times more than the car owes us. Small potatoes to some, but we get to know that we found a British Leyland jewel and did the honourable thing, made it shine.